47. On tonight's episode, it's been a Nintendo Extravaganza this week, and it included getting hands-on with Splatoon, attractions at Universal Studios, and Nintendo outlined their E3 plans. Oh, all this and so much more on tonight's episode. Zach, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is May 13th, 2015. Joining me tonight for some Nintendo discussion and fun is Justin Masson. What's going on tonight, Justin?
Hey, guys. What's going on? I'm so exhausted from this week. So much Nintendo news.
And they said you couldn't have enough of a good thing.
Speaking
of too much of a good thing, joining us as well is Jesse Waldeck,
too much.
Co-editor-in-chief of VGTribune.com. I don't know what that means.
Don't know how to think that either. And I too am wiped. I feel like I've been through an E3 already, and we haven't yet. We only got the intro to E3.
I know. It's like, oh, we were talking about what we're going to do for E3. It's like, I don't know, it's like these weird strategic planning meetings that I'm forced to go to at work, where they plan on what they're going to plan. Oh, it's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like they have the announcement to the announcement, which is,
I know.
Nintendo did that yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, like, movies now have, like, teaser trailers for the teaser trailer. I don't know, man. But all of this is exciting. We've got tons to talk about, so let's get straight into it and go into the news. All right, the news. Where to start? I guess we start in chronological order.
Let's start with the top.
Yeah, the top, I think, is... So, obviously, last week we talked about the Splatoon Direct that was coming up. We had all these predictions that immediately were... Actually, you know what? I went back and listened to it after the Splatoon Direct, and I feel like we were on track with some of these things, but a lot of times when you're predicting what Nintendo is going to do, you're kind of on the right... I feel like a lot of times I'm on the right track, but the solution to the problem that I have said is completely different. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with this particular one as well.
I don't know why we didn't write down what we said last week, because that would have been smart.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole podcast we can just go and get it from.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, what are you guys' thoughts just in general about the whole Splatoon Direct? We'll go through in a minute about... the specifics, and I think that what's, for me personally, we really need to do is I need to give Nintendo credit for really selling something that is actually a little bit less than we expected. They made content delays sound like added features. Is kind of as kind of how I walked away from that Direct. Anyway, what about you guys? How are you feeling about? Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Splatoon Direct, and unfortunately I wasn't able to watch it live. I had to catch it about an hour and a half later. I was in some meetings. First, they took a really different approach to it, and which we knew going into it. Like, we saw it on their social media accounts, kind of live from the Squid Research Labs. So I thought that was kind of a fun. It definitely had this kind of, Saturday morning cartoon feeling to it for a lot of the Direct. There were times where it kind of like I went through peaks and valleys of excitement for it. So I was like, oh, that's a really great feature. I love that. Oh, I can't wait to play that. And then they'd say something else that was kind of dumb. And I was like, why are you doing that? And then a couple minutes later, they'd say something cool. I was like, okay, I'm back on board with that. So I think that and then to obviously end off in the demo at the end, right? So I think they kind of were up and down on it. I think in the end, it provided more insight to the game. It also provided a lot of a refresh about what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Which it
seemed like it was like if you had never seen anything about Splatoon before, this was a good place for anybody to get right up to speed.
Yeah,
right? Which I think is good. I think it's perfect to not assume that the consumer knows anything about an unreleased product, and it really was everything you need to know about Splatoon going in.
Yeah, and I know we're going to talk about it in a couple of moments from now. I think they did a really good job, and people will disagree with me. They did a very good job in strategically making me feel okay that I wasn't getting all the content at once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or they really tried hard to make me feel okay about that.
Yeah, I think they really did a lot to sell it. Like I said before, like they're talking about, we'll go through some of these in a second here, but like, specific modes not being available at launch, and all sorts of things like that, and selling it as though it's additional content instead of really what should be there at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the United States. Now, I saw this on Twitter afterwards, but in North America, this is being released as a full retail game, full retail price, whereas in Japan and Europe, I believe it's the equivalent of between $10 and $20 less.
Really?
Over there, yeah. So we are, and in Canada, because of exchange, we're paying $70 for this game instead of $60 in the States. So
we are getting hosed.
Yeah, thanks Canadian dollar, thanks government. I don't even know who to blame. Just as long as I don't have to take responsibility for it. But honestly, yeah. So let's go through some of these. Jesse, before we start, actually, what are your sort of thoughts on the Direct as a whole?
I did watch most of the Direct. I think I missed the first 10 minutes of it, but frankly, I forgot most of everything by now because I didn't get a chance to go back and rewatch it, and it's been most of a week.
Yeah.
I just remembered, getting blown away by how they set up the demo.
We kind of buried the lead on that one. That was the big thing with the entire Direct, right?
Right.
Was the demo.
It was in 3 1-hour chunks.
Which again, I think we had kind of talked about it last week about how I had said I don't think they're going to do an online demo because there's no way that they would want to have it crash and whatever. And apparently they actually were pretty confident. It was basically a very focused stress test, which again, I think it was a really kind of cool way to do it. I wasn't expecting that they were just going to leave the demo up forever and let people play. Although those 1-hour windows, I think it was a little bit too limiting for, where it was, but it was also very effective at creating hype for this game in very focused bursts, right? Where it was like everybody got really excited at the same time, and then that was it.
At the end of each of the 3 hours, Twitter was nothing but Splatoon for the next 3 hours each after each hour.
Totally.
And I heard that if you look at some time earlier this week, if you look at the #1 game sold by Amazon in the video games category, it was Splatoon pre-orders. So the demo did its job.
Yeah, they did a really great job on that demo, and now you guys, do we want to kind of sit in that pocket and talk about the demo now, or do we want to wait a bit? I know we've actually got our good friend of the show, Dave, who wanted to talk about it as well. Do you guys want to talk about that now, or wait a little bit more?
Let's wait for what you've been playing for that. I think that's a good time for that, and also we'll just get the news kind of out of the way as well, just so that we have a little more context as well. But so just a few pieces. I mean, obviously they talked about the basic gameplay elements, the mechanics. They revealed some new weapons, which I think gives us a pretty good idea. And then, again, after playing the demo, I think we have a pretty decent idea of the 3 classes, more or less, right? Mm-hmm. Of the game being a shooter, a roller, and a charger, right? So here are the things that I'm specifically thinking about when I talk about the real big information that came out. So Splatoon will only have turf war mode available at launch. So as far as like we'll have the single player campaign, and we'll have turf war, which is the mode that was in the demo. That's the mode where you cover the ground in your team's color, and the one with the most color wins, right? That's the only mode, the online mode, that will be available at launch. And it's important to note within that turf war mode that you will be able to join games with your friends, but you will not be able to create teams with your friends and battle against other teams. It will just put you into a party, and it will randomly jumble up the people onto 2 teams. So one game me and Justin and Jesse, it may be me and Justin on a team, and then Jesse is assigned to the other team with a bunch of strangers, and then the next game it would be, all three of us might be on a team, and the next game, like, there's no actual just being on a team all the time. So soon after that, after launch, Nintendo will make rank mode available, with the first rule set being Splat Zones, which is the King of the Hill mode, as well as Tower Control and Rainmaker soon following afterwards. So the Tower Control was the one where you like stand on a tower and it moves. It's kind of like a minecart sort of thing almost, in something like I don't know, other sort of team.
Yeah, it's got this weird like King of the Hill moving.
Yeah, but the platform moves. It looks like a really cool mode, and Rainmaker looks almost like it reminds me of like the Man with the Golden Gun or something like that in GoldenEye, where it was like all they really showed was like this ridiculous fish-shaped cannon.
Yeah, that was exactly it. They just showed the fish, and they're like, "This is called Rainmaker," and the announcer let's make it rain, and that was it. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, that would be my guess. They didn't say anything else about it, but that's the golden sort of giant gun kind of made me think of that. So, and those are coming later. They say, and
I think that was August, right?
No, August. I don't think August is. August is when they're saying they're going to do the team parties where you can actually create teams and with your friends and play against other formed teams. I don't think they just said that they're regularly going to be releasing content. I think part of the reason is because in order to properly do a ranked mode, you have to have a big enough pool of people to have that ranking be effective, right? So you've got to have enough enough people to actually have a decent ladder system in place. If you don't have those people who are skilled enough too early, then that ranking isn't going to mean anything, and it's going to be a negative experience for everybody who's playing. So I kind of get that idea of waiting to do the ranked mode, but the team-based thing, I think, is just strictly, honestly, like maybe they just don't have the matchmaking tech in place yet. I don't know.
And then even once rank mode does go live, you can't access it until you're level 10.
Yeah. Right.
Which I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, I agree. I think it's a good plan.
I think it's a good plan. I think keep players out of the really rough online matches until they're experienced enough. I think that's a good idea.
But I think the problem with that is I don't think it's going to take you very long to get to level 10. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I know that I saw on the Miiverse, our good friend of the show, Alex, from Nintendo Life, he has a demo copy, and he's already got to level 10 in ranked. And his comment was, I'm at level 10, there's no one to play with. And I was going yeah, worst problems for you, buddy. You got a demo version. Knock it off.
Yeah, poor baby. I'm sorry. As well, in addition to new modes, every week or two, new content will be made free, which includes new stages, weapons, clothing, and gear. So I think that's great. That's another thing to keep in mind, by the way, is it's launching with Turf War, and it's only launching with 5 stages.
Yeah.
So that seems, I don't know about you guys, but that seems a little bit light. Although they did show additional stages, like I know, like it's good for them to have it, to make sure it's all polished and whatnot, and to roll things out over the course of the summer to continually have build hype for this. But it feels like, even though this is not paid DLC, it does still feel like that sort of problem that some games have with DLC, where they hold some of the content back for DLC. Obviously this isn't paid DLC, but it's still going to be updates to the game. Yeah. And I feel like they may be holding stuff back specifically for that.
The unfortunate part, when you really think about it, is more than anything else, I think, especially this DLC strategy, this is a game that, I hate to say it, probably should have been delayed. But they realized they can't afford to delay it.
Yeah.
So they are working as hard as they can, with as much spin as they can, to make it feel okay, and to just put as much hype around it as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, at least the DLC is free, right? But also it's DLC, but it's free DLC. The same regards, if we waited 2 months from now, would it have been DLC at all? Probably not. It's been content, right? So
I guess it really just feels manipulative more than anything. You know what I mean? It's like, just give me the freaking game if it's made and it's done. and maybe it's not. Maybe it should have been delayed, but maybe it's not. They're not being very transparent with that either, and so it kind of feels like they're rolling it out just for the sake of keeping hype going all summer.
Yeah.
Instead of having a marketing strategy that is, not withholding content from the people who buy it early.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't want to come across like I really don't like this game, because the thing that kind of the demo, is the next thing on this list here. The demo is great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I loved the demo. And it was a lot of fun. I think that there may be some balance issues with the roller that we'll get to, but it was a good time. Finally, the idea of Splatfests, these being in-game, I guess the first one is like June 20th will be the first one. It's like Team Cat versus Team Dog. It honestly kind of reminds me of what is the mode on Smash Brothers Online where
global
they have the
something.
The global competitions or something like that. It seems like a really fleshed out version of that, more than anything. Where you pick a side and
It feels like that mixed in with, I don't know if you guys remember from when the Wii was out, there was like the voting channel.
Let's vote channel.
It was like the vote channel, a la Splatoon.
I was going to say the same thing.
Mixed in with the idea behind Smash.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. So yeah, I think that's. Oh, and one thing that's not on this list is if you pre-order. How did this work? If you pre-order at GameStop?
Yeah, if you pre-order at GameStop in the US, then you get the free DLC codes for Splatoon kit for your Mii fighters in Smash Brothers.
I think that's a great cross promotion. Hopefully, that doesn't mean that we're not going to get the Inkling in Smash Brothers. Although, I think Roger, I saw on Twitter, he made a good point that maybe it was Roger. Anyways, it was either Roger or Josh. They were having a sort of back and forth discussion of like, oh, it's not going to be, the Inkling's not coming now, and whereas like, well, we actually still, there's a Mega Man Mii costume, there's a Link Mii costume, so this doesn't necessarily mean that the Inkling isn't going to be in Smash Brothers either. So yeah, overall, I felt like the Splatoon hype train is on its way into the station. How are you guys feeling so far? I do have this clip, and I want to talk a little bit, just for a minute, about the Splatoon marketing campaign, which I had said in the pre-show, never before has a marketing campaign so actively made me feel like a game that I was really excited about that I suddenly didn't want to buy the game anymore.
Yeah.
I have music from one of the most recent ones, and I don't know who they're aiming this at. Like, if they're, I don't know. Anyways, I'll
not
just play
33-year-old men.
Yeah, well, obviously, but this is a whole new level of something. I don't know. Here's the music.
Oh,
it's 30
weird.
seconds, but I'm gonna play the whole thing.
You're a kid now. You're a squid now. You're a kid. You're a squid. You're a kid. You're a squid. You're a kid now. Ink it all now. Up the wall now. Disappear. Going back when you turn and attack. You're a squid now. Throw down on the ink. And go Splatoon. Splatoon.
Rated everyone 10 and up.
I feel like I could find that. I feel like how this idea came out was like some kid decided to make his own like YouTube video about him playing Splatoon, and there he's like, splat, splat, I'm an ink, I'm a kid, da 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 da. And someone in marketing is like, that's a great idea.
That's a great kid. We're gonna take your lyrics and put it to a Beach Boys song. Like,
That's exactly like this is the worst.
I get that it's not targeted towards us. I get that, but I wonder if I don't know. It's just bad, is what it is. It's cheesy and it's just not good. It is Nickelodeon in all the wrong ways.
Exactly. My biggest fear is that it somehow is like a cerebral messaging to my children, and like I'm going to walk around the house in the end of May, and I'm going to hear, "It's a squid. I'm a kid. I'm a squid. I'm a kid. I'm a ink now."
And for some reason, I'm imagining like my kid's doing this, but for some reason he's wearing board shorts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I have a
But,
feeling that I have nothing to worry about.
No, you're probably fine.
Well, you know what they say about Nintendo marketing?
You never know
what you're
you are
going to
going to
get.
get.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think that is pretty much all I have to say about Splatoon. But
We'll talk about more about our thoughts in the demo and the actual what are you playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up on the list as well, Nintendo had their fiscal something call, whatever.
Well, yeah,
the
end
fiscal
of
marketing.
the end of March was the end of the fiscal year, so this was probably their big financial statement to their investors.
Yeah, so a few different interesting pieces of information came out. The first one being that Nintendo has teamed up with Universal Studios and is going to be doing theme parks. Well, not theme parks, but Nintendo
attractions.
Attractions. There you go. So basically, like, I don't know, maybe Nintendo Land is going to go where, like, Marvel's Island of Adventure will be now that Disney owns Marvel, and maybe they'll vacate that and Nintendo will move in. I don't know. But yeah, what do you guys think? I think this is a great idea. I think it's awesome. I honestly, for some reason, I'm imagining. Have you guys been to Disneyland before? Like,
yes.
One of my favorite places in Disneyland when I was there, and this was a while ago, and I don't know if it's like totally changed since then, but I remember Toontown and how they had like created this entire area. I was a kid at the time, so maybe it's not as exciting as I'm remembering it, but where they had created this whole area that was completely like from the cartoon world of Roger Rabbit, I think. And it was just completely ridiculous and over the top. And the one thing that Disneyland does amazingly well is creating these fantasy worlds in an entirely real way, right? Like bringing them to life in the most detailed way possible. And I think doing that with some of Nintendo's franchises is an awesome idea. So I would love to do that. So I don't know. What are you guys thinking? How are you feeling about it, Justin?
Yes. Sign me up. Where can I buy my wristband? I want to go on this now.
Totally.
It's actually funny because we're looking to take our kids to that area of the world in the next year or two. And I was like, I wonder. Maybe we can delay for 2 years and it'll be open by then. So I think there's a couple things. First, like everyone thinks like what kind of rides can you come up with Nintendo? A couple brainstorming ideas I came up with. There definitely has to be like a Luigi Mansion, where it's like you get in this like little cart and you roll around and you see everything.
Have you been in Disneyland? They have like a Buzz Lightyear one where you're like in this little cart with the gun that you aim and it's like a high score shoot 'em up sort of deal.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I also think very much the Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's under the idea of like Wind Waker.
Nice. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Just the sort of any sort of those ones where you just get in the cart and go through the different scenes.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
So I think this is great. I love the idea of it. The other thing that this actually kind of made me really think of it, and I thought this is, I don't want to say, this feels crazy, but at the same time it doesn't. That Nintendo is saying, here is our IP, put it on a platform, put it on a mass producing area where people can come to it. I thought that was pretty crazy. It gives me more faith in the idea that The Legend of Zelda might be an actual show coming to Netflix.
I think that we're seeing it already that Nintendo has realized that its greatest strength is in its IP.
Yeah.
Right? It's in all of these different properties that they have at their disposal, and I think it's a great idea. Hang on one second, guys. I think my recording software may have just crashed, and if it did, I'm gonna cry. You still there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep.
Although Jesse was having a power nap. I saw that long blink.
Long blink. I like this whole computer just froze. I'm not even joking. Shh. Come back. Are you kidding me? What do I even do? Hang on. Okay. Well, this whole computer just froze. Okay. That sucks. Sorry, guys. 1 sec. Ow. Take an intermission. Pee break.
For those of you catching us live on Twitch, this is how the sausage is made.
I just hope that we didn't lose the last 25 minutes of recording. Which is possible. Okay. We're streaming though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we can pull the audio if we have to.
Yep, and I'm also getting, while it's streaming, and it's saving a local copy in my machine, so I can always rip that audio if I have to.
I think that might be what we have to do, because I would rather not have to do this whole thing again.
Agreed.
Good,
So we're gonna flip back. Are we gonna keep going?
Well, I'm not recording right now, so I just had to reboot this computer. So, we shall see. But yeah, I think that's one thing that I need to kind of figure out too, is having multiple. I mean, I've kind of got this ridiculous setup as it is, but having some way of recording a backup is probably a good idea. So, we'll just see if this just reboots. If it just reboots, then we're good, but that will be the trick.
Please hold. Operators are standing by. Any questions or comments in the Twitch stream there, Jesse?
Yeah. Anything we can...
Nope, no one said anything. It says there are 3 people, probably 2 besides myself, in it.
I think it's... I think Dave might be one of them.
Dave's probably one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, here's our options right now, guys. We can just continue on and then rip the audio and piece it together just strictly from the stream. That's one option. Or we can wait a few more minutes. I may be able to get some of this. What do I have available?
Are we confident in the ripping mechanism from the stream?
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, you can pull audio from a YouTube video. That I am confident in.
Let's do that.
It's just the things like
the quality will not be as good.
Yeah,
probably.
Especially the music thrown in and like the audio from that commercial.
Yeah, that's all stuff that you will be getting. They will hear it the way you hear it, and not the way that I hear it in my headphones directly from the computer.
Right.
It'll be processed over.
So I think let's go with the Twitch stuff, and then maybe Zach, can we maybe just do a quick prep bumper? I could do that. At the very beginning, just saying, hey guys, sorry we had some tech issues, so the audio is a little bit not quite what we like, but still here's our episode. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'll work.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna give it one more second to see if it's gonna start up, and if it starts up, that is still preferred because the audio quality is better. But yeah, okay. Well, I guess it's gonna try and do a startup repair again. This computer is on its way out. All right, let's just go with it. Okay, so
Jesse, what are your thoughts on the whole Universal thing?
It's just another thing that I'm never going to go to. If I took my family to one of those things, that day alone would cost me $500-$600. I've never been to a Disney World. I've only been to Universal Studios once, and that was on my honeymoon with my current wife, without the kids. So it was just the 2 of us. So it wasn't, and we had free admission due to tickets through work.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a whole bunch of things that all lined up So otherwise, we wouldn't have picked that as our honeymoon spot. But yeah, I'm glad it's out there. Other people is going to enjoy it, not me.
I mean, at the very least, I mean, what it's doing is it's going to increase exposure as well, right? To the, and I think this is really what a big part of what is driving Nintendo's desire to get their IPs out there and to use them more is that basically what they're able to do is increase mind share. You know, that they're actually, people are thinking about Nintendo, they're thinking about their different games and their different properties, and they're making money off of their properties in new ways as well. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to be awesome. And other than a few very select companies, Nintendo has some of the most powerful IPs out there, you know, with Mario and Zelda and Metroid and all of those sorts of things. You know, like Mario is, you know, he's the Mickey Mouse of video games, and I think that is only appropriate that he have his own sort of theme park equivalent as well. So I think that's super cool. Right on. What's next up on our list here?
What do we got? Amiibo, I think, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So another thing that came out from the announcement was that Nintendo has sold, is it 12.5 million Amiibo now?
10.5, I thought.
Yeah, 10.5 million Amiibo, which is nuts. That is so many Amiibo. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep. And like the sales numbers for region are like North America, so it's US and Canada, is like 63% of that.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Which I think it's funny because it seems like they underestimated how much North America was going to want these things, and they overestimated, especially what Europe was going to want. You know, we saw
I'm surprised
all sorts of.
Yeah, I hear stories of Amiibos, these rare Amiibos still on the shelf, like in Germany, in France.
Yeah. Although I was seeing today that apparently there was rumors that like the Marth Amiibo was potentially going up for pre-order again pretty soon, or that was going to be in stock on Amazon, or I don't know. And some of those Amiibo Twitter feeds were saying that Marth was potentially going to be up soon. I don't know. I honestly, you know what's funny with Amiibo, the time delay between when I pre-ordered some of these and when I'm actually like potentially going to get them, my hype for this has died down so much, and I'm looking at how much it's going to cost me to go and actually buy the rest of them because I've just pre-ordered them, and I'm just kind of like, do I really need all of these? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. How are you feeling, Justin?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, right? So, you know, a prime example is that I have got, in my upcoming batch, I've got the Splatoon kids, obviously the pack, which made sense for the game. And I got sucked into the hype, and I pre-ordered myself a Mega Man. Pac-Man. Pac-Man, I apologize. And I was like, I got sucked into that hype of like, oh, you know, it's gonna a special skin for Mario Kart, and I was like, I don't know. Now I don't know if it's that big of a deal, right? Like, do I really need it? Do I really want it? I don't know. Like, and to your point, like, you get really hyped about this thing, and then you don't get it for 6-7 weeks. It kind of dies down. I actually might. Excuse me. A good friend of the show, Dave. I might be actually shipping him my Pac-Man.
Hey, there you go.
Because I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I know he's looking for it. I'm like, you know what? I with Canada, sometimes we happen to have some better luck. So I'm like, maybe I'll just take a look at, you know, Amiibo hunt for somebody else and you know, ship that where need be, right? So yeah. I'm kind of like you, Zach. Like, you know, unlike our friend Dave, we're gonna talk to him in a little bit about it stuff though. That he was kind of very much got to collect them all. I'm only collecting the ones that I'm really interested in, and that's my approach for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like I don't know, like, because I've got Ness pre-ordered, I've got Robin and Lucina, and I know there are people out there like, you have all these pre-ordered and you're complaining about it, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's the same sort of situation where I'm like, I just don't know if this is all really, looking at buying Splatoon and the Splatoon 3 pack and 3 other Amiibo, like, that is going to be a hefty purchase, and I'm just kind of thinking, you know, weighing out the options on exactly what that's going to...
I realize that when I walk into it, and I've already prepaid for all my Splatoon and my Amiibos at GameStop, or sorry, EB Games. I was waiting for it to arrive. I've already pre-ordered it. And I've been paying it for the last like couple of weeks. I'll come in and drop, $30-$40 because I got a little bit of extra bonus check or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I realized that at one point that when I walk out of May 29th, when I walk out of EB Games, I'll have spent $130, and of that, 60 will have been on Amiibos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a hard pill.
Yes. Yeah. So like 40. I'm just doing the math on mine, and maybe I shouldn't, but maybe I should be more responsible.
Regret
and I should do the
that
math.
decision.
Like,
90. To be close
how
to
much
90.
is an actual Amiibo now?
$15 in Canada.
$15. So 15 times 3 is 45, plus another 40. That's $85, dude.
Yep.
Jeez. $85 on Amiibo plus the $70 on the game. I actually pulled up a calculator app on my iPad.
$155.
Good grief, man.
I pulled up the calculator app in my brain.
Ooh.
Hey, man, you're the man who literally made the calculator app on my phone, right? Like, I don't know if I'm using the exact one, probably not. But you literally made a
probably not. But I have made calculator apps for the iPhone.
Yeah. but yeah, like that is not insubstantial. Which is a very roundabout way of saying that is substantial.
And here's the worst part. We say this now, and then at E3 they're going to launch and talk about the next line, and you and I are literally going to text each other like, "Oh my god, did you see that one? We have to do. Are you going down on Friday to pre-order? Because I'm going to go down on Friday to pre-order." Like, that's the conversation that's going to happen, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, now that I'm thinking about it too, I am excited to get some of these, like for my son as well. Like it's a thing that me and him do together, and so it is going to be fun. But I don't know. I think maybe scaling back is a good idea, which is kind of my mantra. But right before the wave actually hits, that's usually my mantra. So
yeah, I was going to say, I feel like this is like we have heard this before. We will hear it again.
I don't really need them, and then I'll get there, and they will all be available, and I'll walk out with my pockets are $200 lighter. And
I walked into EB Games and I just blacked out.
Exactly. Okay, so next up on the list is more Mario Kart 8 DLC coming in 2015. Is that what that says?
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting. And I've listened to a couple other Nintendo podcasts because that's our job. We kind of listen to other ones. So during the investor call, they made the statement that there is more Mario Kart DLC coming. They have more in the pipes and they have more in 2015. The unfortunate part is, it's a little bit unclear, the statement that he made for this investor content was actually before the second pack dropped.
Oh, okay.
So it's not 100% clear whether he means it's coming out next week, or whether they literally mean it's another pack 6 months from now. So there's a bit of bit of lack of clarity around that. We've talked about
like that easily get mistranslated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do,
so,
for sure.
It all So, obviously, hey, if Mario Kart 8 more DLC wants to come out, yes, please, thank you. We'll definitely be more than happy to take it and pay for it. Like, just here's my credit card, it. Take what you need.
Having said that, though, I feel like I have played much less of this DLC pack than I did the first DLC pack. I feel like I played, I don't even think I've played both of them through I don't know. I don't even know. I feel like I've played it 2 or 3 times and that's it.
I haven't even launched it.
But here's the thing I would say about it. Whether you're playing it or not, Zach, you bought it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And when it comes to the bottom line for an economics in a company, that's really the important thing.
Well, I mean, it's the most important thing, but it's not the only important thing, right?
Right.
If the idea that the value of these actually isn't really as high as I'd hoped, then it's going to degrade future sales as well.
Yeah.
Right, because if they do additional DLC, if people aren't playing it anymore, they're not going to buy the DLC anymore because it's no longer pre-bought like Wave 2 was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess my point is it's definitely a factor for them, right?
Of course it is, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still excited by the idea. I think it would still be a good idea, but the overall consensus is most people didn't at least my impression is that 200cc sounded awesome until people got it in their hands, and then they're like, oh, I don't like this at all. This is way too fast, and it's hard, and I don't like it. I think it was for the hardest of the hardcore, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which I think is by design that way. But other than that, I think it's, I don't know.
Last night, I know it's kind of a bit of what we were playing last night. I had a friend over, and my wife, him and I turned on 200cc's on the new levels, and we just said, like, let's just see what happens. And
what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? And by the end, they're like, that was horrible.
We were so wrong.
So, but it was fun. Like we all sucked, which was great.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. Cool. So, I mean, what do we expect? Another set of 8 tracks, along with 3 racers and more amiibo costumes. Like
if they do it, that's what they're gonna do. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's the game's pretty well packed in as it is already. It might just be nickel and diming us on more amiibo costumes, or
those not
amiibo costumes
were all free, right?
Yeah, not amiibo costumes, but other costumes for the Mii Racer.
Yeah,
I hope they don't do that, dude. Like what they did in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think they will, because they've kind of like laid the framework and the groundwork for what we expect their DLC to be, and they had really great success, like in this game especially, right? I think it'd be the same patterning. 4 games, 4 new courses, 3 players, new bikes, I think that's what they're gonna do. As much as I want this to happen, we've talked about it before, I don't think it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because I think they're going to, move around those resources to support the split. Obviously, Splatoon, they've committed to more content coming out every week or every 2 weeks. That's going to take time for them to continually move on. I don't think we've seen the full Smash Brothers DLC kind of announced yet as well. So I kind of feel like you can have 2 burners on the stove, but 3 might be getting a little dodgy. So let's take the one off.
Especially if they're dividing the attention of their consumers between Smash Brothers DLC and Mario Kart DLC, and then some the newest Splatfest on Splatoon, and
you're just diluting your pool.
Yeah, and you're gonna end up, you're gonna have less hype for each one of those things.
Yeah,
for sure. So cool. Next, what was this mobile news and new membership service stuff? What did we hear from that?
So what they announced with the mobile news and new membership service is, the first they said for the mobile news that they are expecting to have out by the end of the fiscal year 2017. Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong. 5 mobile.
17 or 16?
17. 5.
Okay, so like 2 years from now.
Correct. 5 mobile games, at least, on that side.
Sounds about right, because it'll take them about a year to get the first one out.
Yeah.
Then they want to pump.
Well, I think they've said the first one's going to be by the end of the year, but
a year as of the time they initially announced it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
And then from there, pump out a game every 2 months. Then they get their 5 games that they want.
And then the biggest thing they said about the new membership service is that they do want for it to be a service where you have one Nintendo Network ID or network code, whatever you want to call it, account that is accessible via any device you are using it on. And he references smartphones, 3DS, Wii U, and that it benefits here's a direct quote, I'll have to find it, but it basically benefits the player in regards to what they have played in the past, and basically kind of rewards them for continually playing.
So is this like a sort of, like, are we thinking like achievement points sort of thing, or like a gamer score?
I feel like it's going to be like I think there's going to be some kind of achievement methodology to it. I feel like it's kind of like an Xbox Live or account or whatever it is, right? So,
and maybe gamifying it a little bit more, like actually making your gamer score, like if we're going with the Xbox analogy, having your gamer score be relevant in a mobile game, for example. So because you got this, 100% completed the latest Mario game, you therefore have some sort of a bonus in the mobile game, or you unlock a certain item in the mobile game. I don't know. Or maybe because you got 100% on the mobile game, then you get items in the Wii U game, right? Like all sorts of things like that are possible. So
So
they haven't really outlined a lot. Are they going to be outlining this at E3? Have they said that? Because I know they've deconfirmed specific things that they're not going to talk about at E3. They're not going to talk about. I guess they have said they're not going to talk about mobile games because they feel like it's not appropriate. But I have this membership service.
I still imagine that will be one of the topics at E3.
The membership service,
because it will launch before the next E3, so they want to talk about it now.
I think it's a good place to talk about it.
I kind of picked on Polygon a little bit yesterday. They sent they wrote an article and sent a tweet saying Nintendo's new cross-platform membership service will likely launch this fall. And I kind of did a retweet with a reply with it. I love it when new news, in quotes, looks a lot like what we've known for months.
Totally. Yeah, they've been saying that forever, right? So, yeah.
I'm gonna see if I'm just seeing if I can find that quote from Iwata about it, because it was kind of interesting, but maybe I can't find it now.
Okay. Cool. While you're looking for that, we can also, Jesse, what is this ukulele news? Should we talk about this? Go for it. Just real quick.
It's quick. They announced they had 2 updates to their Kickstarter. The first is they introduced a new character. It's your NPC merchant in the game. It's a snake named Trousers. Excuse me.
What?
Trousers.
They actually have a trouser snake?
Yes, and,
that's terrible.
The artwork is
oh my gosh,
a snake in a pair of shorts, where
oh my god,
it's looped. I should show you. I should send you a picture of it. It's his head goes in through like the waistline, goes out one leg, and then in another leg, and then the tail goes back out the waistline behind his head.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at a picture right now. What? He's like a safari dude or something is kind of what this picture.
And the description is, Trouser is a business snake whose career never took off. Not that he knows it. The smug serpent salesman thinks he's the bee's knees. Not that he has knees. And for a little dosh, he'll teach you some of the slick moves he's picked up on the high-stakes sales floor.
This is the best. I went into this like not knowing, like I hadn't seen any of this update, and now that I see this, the idea that there's actually a trouser snake, that is about the funniest
He'll
thing
take your money and count it because he's an adder.
Oh, and so bad. I love it.
Yeah, so there's your NPC merchant. The other update is they've met the 1.5 million pound stretch goal, which adds that added full orchestra soundtrack, I believe.
Oh, awesome!
And they introduced a new stretch goal for 2 million pounds, which they've got a ways to go, but they still have a month to do it. They're at 1.58 million, but at 2 million pounds, they said when they released the first batch of DLC, which, like Nintendo, is not even going to be developed until the game launches. That first batch of DLC will be free to all backers.
That's cool. I like that. Should be fun. Sweet. Yeah. Right on. I'm still loving this trouser snake. That's about the best thing ever.
Then I saw a picture, fan art picture of like the gecko Pokemon with a bat Pokemon on its back, mimicking the.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Ukulele. I showed it to my kids.
Yeah, this game's looking fun, man.
And one went, "No, I don't like it." The other went, "That's kind of cool." After I think about it.
That's funny. Cool. Moving on to the next thing we've got 2 more things. We've got again, so much news this week, guys. Talking as well in that Nintendo did make some comments about the NX potentially being region free. The idea basically that in order for them to take the 3DS or the Wii U and to make them region free, there are some quote unquote what do they say? There's some concerns surrounding potentially taking existing hardware and making it region free. However, moving forward, because they're getting so much feedback on having region-free hardware, that may be something that is doable in the future with NX. So I don't know. I think that's good. I think that the idea of like importing hardware, like for collectors wanting to have like the sort of cool Japanese hardware, I think that's a great idea.
Well,
provided that they were able to change the language settings, I think that would also be,
which I think is possible. Right now, Nintendo's the only company that has region locks. I know it is in PS4. It's free. The system is region free, and I think Xbox One's similar. But the system is region free, but your account is region locked. So if you want to buy that
online stuff,
if you want to buy that Japanese game, you have to create a Japanese account, and then you're stuck to the Japanese version of the DLC for that game. But then you can buy a European game, make a European account, log out, log in, and there you go. Then same with North America.
I think there are a lot of weird ways that hardware and software are tied together, like the account wise currently with both the Wii U and the 3DS.
Now, if Nintendo will
hopefully
this will be fine if the Nintendo lets us log out and log in as a new account.
Yeah.
Right now they don't.
I think that right now your account is tied to your hardware for sure. So, as Justin well knows, by the way.
Yes, it is. I was thinking this as I was sitting here listening to this. I was like, If it was truly region free, right? I wonder if that would have changed our mind about our 3DS decisions we recently made. Right? With the new ones. Would I've just bought the one from Europe and had it shipped over?
Oh yeah. Well,
the faceplates?
It's funny because my dad recently, my parents went to visit my sister and her husband, who have been living in Australia for the past couple of years. And my dad was like just in the equivalent of like a Best Buy or a Walmart or something, and he saw like a white regular size 3DS, new 3DS over there with the cover plates and everything, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! I'm gonna buy 3 of them, and I'm gonna take them home, and I'm gonna give one to my son. I'm gonna give one to my other son. It's gonna be awesome. I'm buying a bunch." And the guy there was like, "Oh, good day, Matt." I don't know. Anyways,
please do that. Please. If we have any Australian fans, this will definitely shoo them away. G'day, mate. You want some 3DS? Yeah.
No, you're gonna make sure your games are working on. I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea that basically you'd have to buy all of your games through the Australian eShop. And pay. Australians pay more than just about anybody else in the world for video games. So
another thing that Nintendo has to do, or no, it doesn't do it all the time, is if I want to create an Australian account to buy an Australian game, maybe it's out earlier than North America. I don't know, but still make
in
it
Australia,
work.
it's probably much later. But anyway.
Well, they had the new 3DS before we did, but who knows? But anyway, I'm just throwing out a random example. It may never actually happen, but make it work with my North American credit card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's so many things, just the way that Nintendo has thought about accounts and hardware and all those sorts of things over the past several years that it's just weird, right? It's gotten really weird, and it's funny because the Game Boy Advance is like totally region free. They haven't I think the DS was the first one that was region locked, and then now apparently after they're going to be coming back. Back on that.
All the handhelds have always been region free because the hardware that they're loosely based off of is technically region free, but they are region locked due to just physical limitations. They changed the cartridges. But if you can jimmy a Japanese cartridge into a North American system, it'll work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like even like the NES or the NES and the Famicom, for example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I remember playing the first time I played Super Mario Brothers 3. It was with a Famicom adapter on it. It was the Japanese version because this was like 6 months before it came out in North America. And I ended up beating the game. I rented it and I beat the game, but because I couldn't read Japanese, I couldn't read the joke that was said after beating Bowser. And so I had played when I did buy it, and I played it again. Then I saw the joke.
Nice.
If
yeah,
you,
that's
if you
awesome.
even know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if I do, now that you're saying that.
Right. So, spoiler alert on a 30-year-old game. When you beat Bowser, you go into the next room and you meet the princess, and then it says, "Thank you, Mario, but our princess is in another castle. ... Just kidding."
Oh, okay, that's right.
I was ready to throw my controller when I first saw that.
You're like, oh, oh, yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, no region free. Let's make it happen, Nintendo.
Make it
finally,
so.
Make it so. Finally, we have here Nintendo announces their E3 plans. This happened just this morning in a 3-minute Nintendo or a video on their YouTube channel, which is their number one way of getting any information out is just on YouTube. Talking all about E3. So basically what we're going to have is the Sunday evening before E3, they are bringing back the Nintendo World Championships, which, have they said anything else about this? Like, what exactly?
Nothing.
Because I know last year they had the Smash Brothers tournament, which was a huge success and really fun, and they're like, we should do that again, right? Is obviously they're thinking. But
if you go to their website, e3.nintendo.com, you'll get a list of things. It's this list that we're talking about, and almost every one says, come back later for more details. So somewhere in late May, like after Memorial Day, they're going to have regional competitions set up. And
within the U.S., yeah, I did see that somewhere, that I think on like May 30th at like Best Buy locations, they're going to have a tournament. Like qualifying rounds, right?
Right. But other than that, we don't know anything.
Yeah, so look, on their website it's saying, for the first time in 25 years, some of Nintendo's biggest fans will get to go head-to-head in a gaming showdown for the ages. Join a worldwide audience by watching the live stream on Sunday, June 14th. And so check back soon. The next one being the digital event at 9 a.m. Pacific on the 16th. And by the way, this is the same time as Square Enix's conference, which, what the crap, Square Enix? Like, this has been Nintendo's time forever to do a press conference or to do their event. Because they're not doing an actual onstage event, apparently it's fair game now. I don't know.
Apparently. This is only the third year.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I don't know. I feel like,
how am I going to cover that? Because
you know what?
I can't cover both.
Yeah, I know where my allegiances lie. However, my concern is that, I don't think allegiance. I guess priorities is probably a better word, but or my interests. But I feel like it's just so weird, right? Like, maybe this is just part of the risk of Nintendo doing digital only and not getting on stage, is that they have run the risk of excluding themselves from the actual physical in-person event, and this is the kind of thing that's going to happen, and Square Enix saw it as an open space. Well,
yeah, this is the first of many Square Enix dick moves it seems like they've had in the last week or so. Because yesterday it was announced that Dragon Quest VIII is getting a 3DS remake. But of course, we're just like 7 and 10, we're probably not going to see it.
Well, hey, you know what, though? If it was recently announced and they're having their own press conference, I actually am a little bit interested in what they're going to say, like if there's going to be anything, noteworthy, at this press conference. Hopefully there's some cool stuff there, but I don't know. It's kind of lame that they would do that.
I wonder if they're in the Nokia Theater too. Not only taking Nintendo's old slot, but their old stage.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It's possible. Yeah, but again, that's at 9:00 or 10:00 Mountain Time. Justin, you said now, like we kind of need to do a little bit more figuring out exactly what we're going to do for our E3 coverage as well. We're not going to be able to do it live like we had initially hoped.
Well, definitely not with me, unfortunately. No, I have to teach that day. I cannot get out of that. So I know, boo to that, and I'm not gonna lie.
Where are your priorities, man?
I'm not gonna lie. It was supposed to be the other week, and the other trainer moved it, and I can't I can't fix that. And
That's
I was really peeved actually, but
yeah.
At least I don't have a family vacation this year on that week like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Texas during E3 week last year.
I'm excited for E3. I think one of the things that we heard about last year, and I think Nintendo has found the formula, right? I think when so many of the other game producers, game companies, and even hardware companies are so about like, here's the latest generation, and look at the pixels, and check out the blood splatter, and da 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 da. I love the fact that last year, and I've said on the podcast several times, Nintendo and Reggie said, we're all about fun. Mm-hmm. And I think the approach they took was fun. I think even the goofiness of this little clip they did today, it was kind of fun. I think if they take that approach again, I think Nintendo again, they were kind of claimed as winners of E3 last year. I think they could do it again.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something in what we haven't talked about yet that has me a little bit concerned, but that is, maybe I'll just jump ahead and we'll just talk about it now. So I guess this is the third year in a row that they're doing the Best Buy event, and the only thing that they are showing at the Best Buy event this year is Mario Maker, which I kind of feel like is not it's not like a core audience draw. You know what I mean? It's not like, because the year before that we had Mario Kart, we had Wind Waker that was available, and then last year we had Smash Brothers.
Yeah, the first year there was like 5 games you can choose from.
Yeah, and so this year having it be Mario Maker, I kind of feel like, really, like that's not near as exciting as I would have hoped. Having said that, especially with Star Fox on the way, right? Like, you would think that they would want to have Star Fox, shown off. Although if Star Fox really is going to be, released this year, my suspicion is that in order to make that deadline, creating a demo would just slow that down. And so maybe they just don't have the time to make a demo as well. So I don't know. I mean, I know for the last 2 years, I actually, sort of arranged to be in Calgary to be able to go to the last 2 years, and I'm this year I'm just kind of like, I just whatever. I'm fine with not going to play Mario Maker.
The main problem with these Best Buy events is they have one kiosk, one system.
Yes.
And you've got a line that if you show up right at 4 o'clock, you're not going to hold that controller until at least 8. And there's still 3 hours of people behind you, and there's only 1 hour left in the show. So
here's the way that I think that they should do this. And this sounds really bad. They proved to us this last week that they can release out a demo for a very short amount of time and have a lot of people get jacked about it. So why don't you send out the Mario Maker demo for 2 days, and you have
and just do it exactly
windows,
like this,
exactly like you did Splatoon.
Yeah,
I said the exact same thing 2 years ago. 2 E3s ago, I said, every Wii U demo they have on the show floor, let us play it in our homes for 3 days and then kill it.
Yep.
And even have it, if you want to have it limited to the time that E3 floor is open, like whatever, then you're just like, we invite Nintendo fans onto E3 floor, and then have a bunch of the demos. That's a great idea. Nintendo, get on that. But
here's the thing. I'm willing to bet you, as smart and as good looking as Jesse and I both are, I highly doubt that we are the very first people to think of this. So I wonder what it is in Nintendo's headquarters that why this is not occurring.
Because there's not a guided experience.
Yeah, it could be. But hold on. Talk about Splatoon. Was Splatoon a guided experience?
Oh, it totally was.
Yeah, you can create a quick little guided demo at the beginning of it.
And they don't want, especially early on, they don't want direct feeds shown.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
If we want their MO, at E3 and even at these Best Buy events, is if I'm sitting there with my camera recording gameplay, I have to have the guy holding the gamepad in the shot.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but it's
some games it's handy. Some games it's just a pain.
And not only that, but at like E3 and stuff like that, or the Best Buy events, you've got somebody there who's I think what you were trying to get at, Jesse, with the whole guided experience thing, isn't just that, that they have this sort of intro demo sort of level like they did in the Splatoon demo, but that you've got another person there who, if you're struggling in the demo, you've got somebody there to kind of give you pointers. And
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's just part of the sort of early demo experience. So yeah, I agree. Let's see. So finally, as well, they've said from the 16th to the 18th. So the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there will be Treehouse Live at E3, which is what they did last year, and I think that we all expected it to go on again. I didn't actually watch the whole 3 days, but I'm excited that they're doing it again, and it's fun to sort of jump in, and like there are so many different games. Apparently they're going to be showing even more games this year than they showed last year, according to that video. So I think I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great experience and a great sort of presentation to get through. So again, I am still a little bit worried about the number of games that they could potentially be showing, right? Like are we going to see a lot? Are we going to see just a little? I don't know, but I
hope they do a better job at telegraphing the schedule, because it seemed like, of course, I was in the middle of vacation and I wasn't able to keep up with everything, but it seems like it was tune in and see what we do, and we have no idea what they're really going to do until we get there.
Yeah, instead of having some sort of a schedule ahead of time, so that you can, because it seemed like it was basically just follow them on Twitter, and then they will tell you what's coming up next.
They obviously had this already planned out, because they were in 1 hour segments. Every hour they do something different. So they had to they had known what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whether the schedule held up was another question, but they had a plan.
Yeah.
And for those of you wondering, I've seen some stuff that's gone out recently on YouTube. Our good friend, obviously, of the show, Roger's Base, recorded with Josh from the BitBlock. They did their E3 predictions video this week. We will be doing ours in about 2 to 3 weeks from now, just kind of on the edge of E3. So you guys will be able to hear what our predictions are as well. So those are coming on the pipeline.
Totally. Absolutely. By the way, just in time for our what you've been playing, I actually have my computer back. Like, it took that long for the computer to reboot. So
wow.
Congrats.
Wow.
So it went through some whole ridiculous, freaking computers, man. It's a Unix system. I don't know. It's a long lost joke. Where's my bumper here for what you've been playing? It's coming up right here, slowly.
Wow.
Maybe. Aha! All right, there you go. Technical problems have disappeared, and we are now talking about what we've been playing, which, of course, we're going to be talking all about Splatoon. And so do we have Dave in on the call?
I'm going to bring him in right now.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, of course, it's only appropriate that as we do this, I mean, this is what Nintendo wants us to be thinking about, right?
Absolutely. Kids and squids.
Kids and squids.
Kids and squids all day.
You know what,
Speaking of who's both neither a kid nor a squid, Dave has now joined us.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Dave, who is like almost the now unofficial. Dave, you are the most visited guest on the Nintendo Dads podcast.
That's pretty awesome.
That being said, we haven't had a lot of guests, but still, congratulations to you.
The bar is low, but you are still on top.
Yeah,
you had Scott Johnson and Rogers Base on, I think, and people from IGN. The bar is pretty high.
Actually, in all fairness, yeah, Rogers come on twice, so you sir, are just beating him by I think 1 or 2.
I think what he's trying to say is that it's all about quantity and not quality.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about the Splatoon demo, and obviously, first off, let's kind of get it out of the way. How many times did you guys manage to get in on this demo?
One.
One time?
What one of the hours, Dave, or just one match?
One of the hours.
Okay.
One hour.
Jesse?
I was only able to get into the first hour.
Same.
Zachary?
I played the Friday night one, and I played Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I also played the Friday night, and I played about 20 minutes of the Saturday afternoon.
Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, like Saturday night, I think was probably my guess would be Saturday night was probably the busiest one, or Friday night, I should say, just because it was like, first off, like as far as connectivity, you know, the I was suspecting that part of the reason why they wouldn't do this was because they wouldn't want the connection issues to sour the taste of Splatoon for people, right? But I feel like for the most part, other than a few like connection where it's like, oh, the server that you were requesting is already full or something like that. I got that error a few times, but other than that, it was pretty good.
Okay, so for like the first 5 minutes of that open hour, I was sitting there going, okay, connect, and then it would go error connecting to the server, and then you would load back to the "You're a Squid Now" song and the menu, and then you would hit it again, and I was like, I'm not even gonna get in. This isn't gonna happen today. And I'm like, this is an hour. Like, I should be in by now. And eventually I made it in, obviously.
See, I didn't have any problems early on. I started getting problems around the 40-minute mark.
That's about when I did too.
So
in fact, when I it kind of failed at one point, and I had to go and replay the intro again, and I was like, "Oh man, are you kidding me?" But
you're a squid now.
Yeah, I'm a squid again now.
Yeah. I only had after I got in, I had one error thing come up, just one. Once I got in, but I was fighting with that thing. Like, I got an hour. Don't kill me for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, so what are your sort of impressions so far, guys? Like, was it like, are you like, is it everything you ever dreamed of? Like, was it amazing? What do you think?
I enjoyed
Justin,
it.
Jesse, now see this, me and Jesse were on Skype that first night, and I was surprised because Jesse, this is not your jam usually, right? Like, shooters are not your thing. So what's the difference with this one? What's the difference with Splatoon?
I haven't figured that out yet. I think the mission being area versus your kill to death ratio, I think is a big factor, which I think is the exact opposite reason why my son didn't like it. He played one game and says, "I don't like it." Shuts it off. I'm like, I don't think he didn't. I don't think
he say something like, "No, this is baby stuff.
It's cartoony." Like, I don't think he didn't give it a fair shake. But of course, he wanted his Call of Duty friends were on Skype at the same time, trying to get him back in that game.
I mean, okay, so I mean, you guys were touching on this before, the marketing of this game. If you watch the direct twice, like I did, because I wasn't paying attention the first time, like, just have it on the background while I'm doing other stuff. I watched it a second time. This game is marketed directly towards like 14-year-olds. That is their direct market.
Which is where my son is,
and
he missed him.
I would say even a little bit younger than that. I would say probably closer to like 12.
They make the reference that you become a full-grown inkling at 14, the same way that you become a Pokemon trainer at 10.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, that's the market for this game. Now, I don't like shooters at all. Like Halo, Call of Duty, they're all garbage games to me. And this game, I found myself having a lot more fun, like, as the paint roller guy. And I think I understood this game, I think, more than most of the internet seemed to that day, because most people were going around spraying the walls like it would count. And that's what I saw, and I would just be like, I'm going to go in these corners. And, like, up-close combat
I
is
think
like...
some of the wall surfaces do count, because I've never seen... at the end of the match, you get so many percent versus so many percent, and I've never seen them add up to 100. So there are some surfaces never getting ink. They have to be the walls.
Yeah, I think they've specifically said the walls don't count, but I think there is quite a bit of space in on the map that you just pass by, that you just kind of forget to cover. That it, just little patches here and there ends up being a really big percentage. But yeah, no, it's funny because I felt like by the end of the demo, I was like, man, I can tell that, like, I'm getting good at these controls, and I'm like shooting ahead and then swimming and then shooting and swimming, and I feel like the mastery of these controls is going to result in a really fun game. really sort of, the controls are really, they feel great. The motion controls actually are amazing once you get used to them, because I turned them off for a while and I was like, ugh, like I did not like it at all. It felt way too stiff, and as soon as I turned them back on, the gyro controls were great again. So
and one thing
I didn't even dig to change those settings. I just left them the way they were. But
one thing I think they said in the direct was that in the full game, you'll see the map that you're playing on first. Then you can pick your weapon.
Well, I think what they did was they said that you would know which 2 maps you could potentially get, and then you could do it.
Oh,
so they're cycling between, like, every hour or whatever the cycle is. They will cycle through the different maps, but they will only ever be 2 maps within that given time period.
Right, because I can tell really quick some weapons are garbage on certain maps, but other weapons are golden. And if you just get a mismatch, you're sunk pretty quick.
Well, and that was the thing that,
quick.
like, for me, there was
I kept rolling off the
levels.
edge.
Yeah, there was 2 different levels. There was like the salt spray rig or whatever, like the oil rig one, and then the warehouse one. And I was like, oh, not the freaking rig again. I want to do the warehouse. Like, I found the warehouse one a lot more fun, whereas the salt spray rig, it felt like, if you've really figured out, like, there was way more strategy involved in the oil rig level.
There's a lot of places I've never figured out how to even get to.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of like perches for people using the sniper and stuff like that too.
Did anybody watch Game Explains Andre playing it? Because he's played it like 1,000 times.
No.
Where he was able to, like, he knew where the walls were that you could climb up to, like, areas that no one knew how to get to, and then he would just stand up there and, like, shoot people down.
He'd just camp.
And he'd be like, "This is kind of pointless, except the fact that, like, I can kind of just shoot everybody out of this area and then keep filling it up."
And I think that this is kind of the tragedy behind some of this. What they're calling upcoming content, and I'm going to call delayed content. Like the fact that you can't do team matches right away. The idea that there's no voice chat, and so the only way to do this initially is going to be, yes, you can get on Skype with your friends, and hopefully you're matched into the same team when the teams are shuffled. But like, to not be able to do that sort of matchmaking team-based stuff until August is really a pretty big disappointment for me, because that's what I was really looking forward to. You can tell that constructing your team with different rollers and snipers and all that kind of stuff would be really awesome, with different roles. I don't know.
Do you guys like really find what's going on here? Do you guys really find the voice chat, the lack of it, really that big of a deal in this?
In the randomized games, no, it didn't matter. But when it gets to the point when you want to match, when you get a party of your friends, then you're gonna want to.
Well, I think here's the thing though, is like, especially in the salt spray rig level, where you're like, where you've got that sort of big northern area, the big open area in the top and the big open area in the bottom of the level. And you've got everybody focusing on one area, and I just there were a few times where it was like, you guys, like, we've got to spread out, and so, like, I would run and go down to the southern area and try and cover some of that space, but everybody is just kind of bunched together, and so just even being able to say, okay, guys, like, we got to focus up in this one area because they have taken a bunch of space from us, stuff like that, where in order to win, you need to kind of be aware of stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe that's more of like I feel like maybe this is my like history in like WoW, for example, doing like battlegrounds where it's like capture the flag or something like that. We're just enough to say, oh, you guys, we really need to focus on this, and then being able to rely on some of the, having at least one person just kind of be the leader and say, okay, well, this is kind of what we need to do, guys. Like just enough to have that strategy there instead of just, running around and trying to cover, to sort of be constantly trying to cover up space. It's still fun. Like, it's just a totally different kind of game. And I think that the voice chat is going to, it will with like the team-based stuff being able to do that over Skype will have a lot more strategy and stuff. I don't know.
I
I don't
don't.
know. What do you think, Justin? You feel like it's not a big deal, or Dave?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as big of a deal as I think everyone makes it out to be, right? And I think of, and maybe it's just because I haven't had it, right? So I mean, I play, like I have a PS3 here. I play Destiny with a couple friends, and we go online and chat. I gotta tell you, most of that chat isn't game related. It's very rarely ever game related or strategy. It's more like, when it is, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, I just died. Can someone come re-heal me? Awesome, thank you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a game like this, especially, it kind of demonstrated itself on Friday, was the match is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Here's my communication to all three of you if you're in my squad. Go paint the turf. Try not to die. And if you're confused about how much we have left, look down at your gamepad.
Yeah. No,
Right?
that's totally
And,
fair.
in a lot of ways, by the default of the weapon that you choose, almost chooses your strategy. Right?
Yeah.
And in that, you begin to identify your roles that you're going to play. So do I need that much communication? I don't know. Now, I'm going to take a step back. Would it be nice that they had it? Yes. I know that Fran Marabella from IGN basically said it was, he basically lambasted
lazy or
Nintendo for it.
They're ripping this game on Twitter. IGN is for not having voice chat and like just all sorts of tweets like this would be really cool, but it doesn't have voice chat, and it's like it needs it. I'm gonna be honest. This game needs it more than any Nintendo game so far has.
Mm-hmm. Because
But-
of the team-based element to it,
Right, because it's a team-based game, and it's not gonna kill this game for me. But the fact that like I didn't bother setting up Skype to talk to you guys while we were playing, not that we could have made matches together, and not that we can until August or whatever, but this game is one of those games that would benefit from voice chat. I find myself yelling at the TV when I play shooters, right? But now I'm yelling at the TV by myself.
So here's my question. Let's pretend. So I mean, like, let's pretend they all of a sudden put in voice chat. So we know that we're gonna have to go and buy a new, either a headset or something for it, because the Wii gamepad sucks.
Awful.
Right?
Well,
So they don't even have
Well, you
the.
just plug in like your Apple headphones. Or
yeah, the
something.
same
That's not a
headset
big
you
deal.
use for your phone works in the Wii U.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
So and
You
the
just
mics
plug in
work
your
too.
Apple headphones. Yeah, that's fine. That's all it is. But still, I mean, like the biggest thing for me is like, is it a great game? Absolutely. Would it be better if after a match you could with your teammates just say like without any sort of external thing saying, man, you know what? Actually, on this map, it might be better if we focus on these particular areas instead. That seemed to work really well. Let's try that next time. Just the ability to quickly have that conversation is really helpful. Right?
You refer to each weapon
And it
like
just makes
having a
it deeper.
class. And just like MMOs, like World of Warcraft or EverQuest, the only way for you to get better at your class is to work with other people of that class and talk and figure out what the hell you're doing wrong and learn from it. So, but
I would benefit
Yeah.
from having somebody there to be like my what do they call the splatter shot junior guy? If somebody could run around with one of those to like cover me as I roll paint everything, that would be really fun.
Right? See, and it's
Like-
stuff like that where you can tell that the different weapons are going to mesh really well together. See, like that's a perfect example where having a squad with like the splatter shot junior guy covering a roller, and as well having a charger guy up on a high mark to to keep an eye out and to take out any invading people. Like creating those sorts of strategies is what I think really will bring the depth out in this game. And without native voice chat, basically what you're going to do is the people who actually do go to the effort in August, to create a team and have those sorts of strategies are going to dominate to no end. But by that point, I wonder how many people are actually going to be doing that at all. I don't know.
the four of us versus Roger, Josh Thomas, Andre, and Derek.
Oh, thrown down.
Done deal.
I'm calling it now.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
So
Right.
speaking of Roger, you actually got paired with him, right?
Yeah, at the very, very last match on the server, I was in that game with Roger, but I didn't even realize until the names came up at like the very, very last second.
So
which,
awesome.
which you know why? Because of the lack of voice chat.
right.
Because the lack of
But here's the thing: is that even if Nintendo allowed voice chat, it
It
wouldn't
should be with just friends.
It would only be with friends. It would
Yeah.
only be like you and I have this. We've agreed on this partnership, and it's an opt-in option, and like there's so many hoops. So here's my question: I know that they have said they won't that voice chat is not in this game.
Mhm.
Do you think is it possible that Nintendo can patch voice chat in after the game is launched?
Oh yes.
Sure, definitely.
Oh,
Based
totally. It's
based on
100%
and
software.
okay, so A, we believe it's possible. B, do you think they will?
No. Never.
I don't
I
think
doubt
so.
it.
No.
We all agree they should,
I mean,
but
worst
they
case
probably
scenario,
won't.
like, yeah, basically what they would do is this, the most they would ever do is a Mario Kart sort of between matches thing. But even then, because it's just between matches, maybe actually here's what I can see them doing if they do it at all, is only during the team-based matches, like the actual team-based, sort of 4-on-4 games or whatever. They build it in there. They say that's the only place you can do it. You can only do it with people on your team, and maybe that's why it's delayed. Frankly, maybe that's why that mode is delayed and it's not coming till August. That's the only place I can see them doing it, because otherwise I can't see them having any sort of voice communication at all. So maybe they will do it in between, with those team-based matches.
No, they gave
I
us
don't
the
know.
little arcade games to distract us during the load screens.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, you know what the thing about online functionality?
You never know what you are going to get.
And-
So
Did you try that arcade game, the squid jumpy thing?
I did.
I did.
It was like Doodle Jump.
Yeah, I tried it once, and it took me a while to get. It took me like 3 tries to get used to it, because by the time I almost got a hang of it, then the game started. So you really don't get enough time at it to get good at it. So maybe
You know what it reminds
So hold
me
on. Let me just get this straight. You're complaining that you connected to a server too quickly to play people?
not
I think those
Yes.
games are doing
Yes.
their job.
Is that what I'm hearing from you, Jesse?
it's given me a distraction for the loading time, which is good, but what is distracting is that how do I want to say this? I want it to end naturally, not forced when the real game starts.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Totally. But yeah, I think it's doing its job, and if I remember from the direct, that you doing the amiibo missions will actually allow you to unlock additional gamepad games for when it's loading and stuff. Which, by the way,
paid DLC that we can't get.
Which, by the way, can I just say for a minute something that we forgot to mention when we were talking about the direct? Still no other amiibo functionality in this game. Something that has been expected from a lot of people since this game was pretty much announced and amiibo was announced. Like your Mario amiibos, all of your Smash Brothers amiibos, none of those are going to be working in this game unless they have some late announcement, or it comes in one of their many game updates, which they haven't said anything about yet, which is kind of weird.
I bet you it's in one of their major game updates.
And they'll probably talk about it at E3.
Like another Splatfest sort of thing.
Right. If it's anything, I mean, it could just be like, seriously, it's going to be like, here's the 6 amiibo that it supports. It'll be the Mario Brothers series, and you get a Toad hat, a Peach crown, a Luigi hat, a Mario hat, and these are the only ones supported. It'll do the same thing Mario Kart did when it came out. They won't all be supported from the beginning. This game obviously wasn't done. Splatoon is not done.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for this game, like 20 years from now? I mean, I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say, like, oh yeah, I'm going to put back in Splatoon, but like, how many times have you guys like gone back to like the Super Nintendo, put it in? These games that are not done are screwed in the future. Like, they are not going to be games anymore. Splatoon won't be online, and if they ever add any like multiplayer, like local multiplayer content, like none of that'll be there because you won't be able to download it because it won't exist anymore. And like stuff like that freaks me out. Like for the future,
Especially for the value by what you're paying too.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think gets me the most. And really, the initial launch for me is going to my satisfaction in it. As weird as like the online is why I think most people are buying this game, but initially, I feel like the single player campaign is going to be what is going to make or break the value for me. Like, is it a 2-minute or like a 2-hour campaign, or is it like a 8 to 10 hour campaign? I don't know, but it's
we even saw from the Nintendo Minute this week, because they're doing a whole like May is Inktacular or whatever it is, that the host spent the entire 15 minutes talking about the single player campaign in Splatoon and showing it off. So I think they, whether they heard the noise of like, this feels empty and weak and they had to show off more, I'm not 100% sure, but they did spend time talking about the single player campaign.
And last week we talked about the rumor and someone that it was going to be a 14-hour campaign with 28 missions, and we kind of
none of that makes sense.
We kind of and we flat out said it's not going to be 14 hours. There's no way. But I did see one of the screenshots shown in the direct of this when they talked about the single player, and it looks like there is going to be 28 missions in the single player, unless there's a third row of icons that wasn't shown or will scroll off or something when you finish them.
And then you have to remember what they're buying into, they're also buying the idea of like, so you buy the amiibo and it unlocks a challenge for that level that you have to complete, right? So they're expecting you to complete each level 2 or 3 times doing various different things, right?
Well, Mario Sunshine did that over and over and over, and they all do it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think that's another way that they're trying to get into it as well.
But if those levels are really 5 or 10 minutes long, then it shouldn't be a big deal. If they end up being 20, 30-minute drag fests, then that could be a problem.
I think, and I kind of want to take a bit of a pause here and kind of just reposition something. And we had another conversation not too long ago about just how we're talking about games. I think this is a really great game. I think
it was so fun.
I think
that's the thing is that we're being hard on it, but it was honestly some of the funnest time I've had on my Wii U in a very long time.
It's what I'm calling the Avengers syndrome now. Is that we really like this, right? But we're going to criticize the heck out of it. Yeah. At this point. Because this game is really fun. I don't know if I want this on launch. I might wait till August at this point. Just because I want everything to be there.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe it'll go down to being like $45 instead of $60.
If that's the case, though, like I honestly feel like even though there's going to be more content in the game in August, the launch hype is going to be the highest that this game is, like as far as excitement goes, right? So
to be fair, I switched to pre-order at GameStop today to put on it, so it's pre-ordered if I want to go get it at launch. Yeah. If the hype so calls me, I will be there to get it.
Yeah, and I mean, like for me, for example, and here's a great example. So Friday night, 9:00 Mountain Standard Time rolls around. My kids are still up, and I'm like, okay, I've got to get in the window and I got to play this game. So I sat down and I'm playing, and my daughter's like, "This is this is really cool." Both of my daughters literally sat down beside me, and they're like, and they're watching me play this first person shooter, and they're like, "Oh, you're the orange team. Oh, I like that person's hair. That's a pretty cool like roller. That's neat." And then it got to a point where then Rylan sits in my lap and says like, "Can I play, Dad?" And I was like, "Sure."
No, there's only an hour, kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, so why don't you be the weapon, and I'll be, so she'd hold down the shoot button, and I would do the moving, right, and coming in and out of the ink. And we sat there and played, and then Morgan took turns and sat on my lap and played together, and it got me thinking. I'm like, I'm literally sitting around playing a first person shooter game with my daughters who are under the ages of 6 or under the ages of 7.
That's
Nintendo,
incredible.
You're brilliant for what you've done here. And then later so we go to bed. So they go to bed. Saturday, they both say to me, "Hey, Daddy, can we play that paint game now?"
This is the problem with that 1 hour demo.
Yeah, And I said,
or it's the thing that's genius about the demo is that it's
Yeah.
created this
Yeah.
real amazing scarcity, right?
Yeah, and I
created the scarcity for this game.
And so I said to her, I'm like, yeah, we can't. And she's like, oh, okay. And so like my daughter just doesn't, my youngest doesn't quite just understand how time works, right? So it's Saturday, Sunday. Hey, Daddy, can we play that paint game today? And I was like, no, again, we can't, honey. I'm sorry. So I had to explain to her the mechanics of a demo, and then she paused, and I was like, okay, how about this? Daddy's got it pre-ordered. We're gonna play in 2 weeks. Oh, okay, that's great. But there's
That's so tough. But here's
maybe the way to go with that is kind of explain to her that how one computer talks to another computer to get the game to work. Yeah. And during this downtime, the other side is down, and it won't be up again until the end of May.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting just to, and I kind of thought, it's a new IP, great. Nintendo's taking a waiver on a new IP. We grew up, more so Jesse, Zach, and I, other than Dave, more so on those like discovering Mario as the IP, right? This, could this game, especially from a new design company, a new development team within Nintendo, could this be our kids' generation's Mario?
Or Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And I think that's what Nintendo has done. Originally when Reggie had said, and sorry, I'm kind of going on my soapbox rant a little bit. When Reggie had said a couple of months ago that what they're hoping to do with Splatoon is what they did with Mario Kart for first-person shooters, we all thought like, yeah, right, whatever. I believe him now.
Oh totally.
Yeah.
I believe him now for playing this, and this is now like, do I want to play Splatoon or do I want to play Mario Kart? I want to play Splatoon. Like
totally.
Like the 28th of May, I hadn't thought about it. I might actually take the day off. Like at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, come home, take the day off, and I'm going to sit and play.
That day.
And that's a really rare spot for me to really want to be in. But at the same time, I also don't want to play too far ahead because obviously my kids want to play a first-person paint shooter with me.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
I'm really excited for it, guys. Like I'm as I've been talking about, like all of the build up for it, and got the amiibo on pre-order, and like I'm just excited for my son. On the Saturday, me and my brother came over as well, and we kind of just passed the gamepad. It was my brother would play a game, and then I would play a game. And the nice thing about these like little 3-minute matches is I literally just handed the gamepad to my 4-year-old son, who, he's kind of figured out the gamepad. He kind of he played through a lot of like the Lego Marvel game. And so he's kind of figured it out, and we kind of just taught him the controls. And most of the time he, the gyro controls were a little weird for him, and he ended up just staring at the sky shooting. I was like, dude, press Y. By the way, the idea of press Y to reset your camera, for him especially, like for a kid who's trying to figure out gyro controls, anytime he got screwed up, it'd just be like, dude, just press Y. And he'd press Y and it'd reset. And it's like, oh, okay. And he'd keep going.
I've had to use that a few times.
But sitting down with him, and I'm very similar sort of thing with you, Justin, just sitting down with him and letting him play, and he loved it. It was a ton of fun for him. And so I was just like, at the same time, I kind of made a comment to my brother. I was like, yeah, he's totally going to have his own like online profile, because he's not getting on mine and messing up my
He ain't taking down my 10 ranking.
Yeah.
He ain't doing this to me, son.
No freaking rank play games for you, boy. But anyways, it's definitely it's going to be really fun. I'm really excited for it, and he's already decided that he wants the blue Inkling boy amiibo, and that's going to be his, and I can have the girl one and whatever, and we'll just
you may just have to buy another one for him, and so you have your own.
If you could find one.
Yeah.
He's so angry. Dave is so angry.
I feel like the reason I bought the 3-pack was the squid one, and I feel like the boy and the girl, that probably won't be too hard to get those. But the green squid.
But I want the squid one.
Yeah. Well, I guess you just.
So do we want to talk amiibo?
You didn't.
Yeah, let's talk amiibo there.
You didn't want enough. You didn't want it enough, I think.
What do you got there, buddy? You got some Ike.
I got Ike today.
Nice.
Oh.
Now, how long ago?
Pre-order?
Yes.
Yeah, just last week he was saying. Oh, but yeah.
Yeah. So when did you guys put up a YouTube video of you guys going, look, here's the Ike amiibo?
Oh.
Before
Oh,
I
that's
e-
sad.
before I even talk to you guys,
I think that was right when Codename Steam came out.
I found you guys through that video.
Oh,
Legitimately.
We lost Zach.
Oh, we just lost Zach.
Oh no. He didn't see the Ike amiibo.
He's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore.
No more amiibos.
I'll see if I can bring him in.
The
I want to talk about also what weapons everyone chose, or what was their main jam.
roller.
Yeah.
Only the roller. I can't get far away shooting combat. That's above my skill level.
Okay. What about you, Jesse?
I liked the roller at first, but around halfway through, I realized how it's got its disadvantages. So then I switched. I tried the charger, didn't like that as much. So then I went with like the default weapon, and for the end, and I liked it.
I learned to hide with that roller,
Mhm.
and people not see me right away, and I would just swim behind them,
Yeah.
and then just come in and roll, and then take that whole area.
The problem is
the
if they see you and they roll
You're
over
done.
you're gone.
I think that is such a fun idea, right? Like, it makes sense. If I'm rolling something, I'm pushing it to the ground, and it should kill you, right? And it's kind of like, oh yeah, that totally
doesn't work,
Okay,
but
I'm
it
back.
does.
like yeah,
Okay,
it does,
back-
but it doesn't, right? You're like,
You guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you, Zach.
Okay, because my phone died, so
Mm.
I missed the last however many whatevers.
But I'd agree
Yeah,
to
back.
the shot was the worst.
Oh, the charger.
Yeah, the charger. I had a hard time with that one.
Okay, so here's where the charger's gonna come into play. Right, is in that King of the Hill mode.
Yep.
It does not work for Turf War. There's no reason to use that in Turf War.
Unless you're actually using it to move yourself forward, like if you were using it, I feel like it's only very early on. If you were paired with somebody like a roller or something, for example, to get you moving forward through the battlefield to swim to be able to swim faster, but within a 2-minute time frame, I feel like it's not that big of a benefit to be able to swim through a channel. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I was the roller all the way. Like, I was like, that is my jam.
I tried the splatter shot, and I was like, this is a shooter, and I'm gonna suck,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna have fun with this. And then I figured out to switch out, which I wasn't paying attention to the menus because I was like, just let me play the game, I'll figure it out. And
You know
then
what actually looked like a ton of fun in the direct was, it was a roller, but it was a paintbrush, and
Yep.
and it was like a super fast paintbrush, so you could it was a very narrow sort of roller, but you could like swipe it back and forth really fast. So it was almost like a combination roller and a shooter at the same time.
yeah,
It
see, that
looked
sounds
pretty-
great.
Yeah.
So speaking back to this Ike amiibo before we lost Zach and got distracted. I went into the GameStop to pick this up today, and guess what they had before I got there? Right before I got there, a Marth amiibo,
Oh, you're kidding me!
just one.
Was it returned or like did they actually?
No. They got it in with the box of Ike pre-orders.
What the?
They got one Marth for every GameStop in this area.
That
So
is weird.
I started going to other GameStops, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, we got one. It was gone." And I'm like,
Man.
"Thanks, Nintendo. You apologize, and you're like, more
Yeah, don't
Marth,
worry, we'll
Mar-
make
more
don't worry,
Marths.
guys.
more Marths are coming for Codename Steam.
One Marth came.
One
Wow.
Marth came. Just one Marth came for Codename.
That's so lame. If that's
I've-
seriously, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably get more, but
No, we won't. they keep telling us we're getting more.
yeah, I don't know.
Please understand.
Nice.
I feel like that's about all we can do with
Yeah.
that.
So Splatoon, we're all
We're all having fun.
having fun.
I'm excited for it. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah.
I'm calling out Roger Bitblock and Game Explain right now.
Do
Absolutely.
it, boys.
Let's send out a tweet challenge on that one.
All right.
But in all honesty, to that point though, Dave, like, I am looking forward to the fact that in August, and unfortunately it is having to wait till August when we actually can all get together.
Right.
right? Because like although the randomness was fun for like the demo, like I do want to play with your friend. You do want to play with your friends online,
and we can to a certain extent, right? Like I do want to be clear that for people who maybe weren't 100% film like up to date on the direct, they did say that you will be able to look as of the launch if you're playing Turf War online. You will be able to say, hey, I see my friend playing. I want to be paired with them. And it'll be a similar sort of thing to what Mario Kart 8 is doing right now, where you'll be in the same sort of group of people, but you'll be you won't necessarily be on their team. It'll be jumbled into, the pool of 8 people will be jumbled into 2 parties, be randomly assigned. So you may or may not be on their team. So, but you can still play in the same match as them, which I think it's an okay interim solution.
For
now. Although I really want to be on the same team as.
Yeah, no, like all of us, like on the same team. Like that's the way this game is going to shine. The other thing is
that's how it's meant to be played. Frankly,
this game needs more local multiplayer. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well,
I'm the only person in the world who still likes local multiplayer.
Here's the question: so the person playing on the TV in the what's the mode called? The balloon pop mode.
I had no idea.
Anyways, the one where one person plays on the gamepad, one works on the TV. What I want to know is, do they have actual pointer controls if you use a Wii Remote and Nunchuck? Because that would be the bomb. I would love that. I doubt that they have that, but that would be super cool if they did.
Yeah, no, because that there's Metroid games that were through the Wii that people were like, these are the best, and somebody told me Call of Duty was the best on the Wii U.
Yeah, I love pointer controls in Metroid Prime. Yeah,
and I'm like,
I know
that,
like the Pikmin, they were.
Yep.
Pointer controls are best with Pikmin versus a
gamepad or
controls.
Stylus or anything, right? Yeah, for sure. Pointer controls when they're used properly it is the best way to do it. Although I feel like the gyro controls on the gamepad is a pretty good way as well. So, cool. Anything else, guys? Before we move on, I feel like we have exhausted this this topic. What do you think? Anything else? Cool. You know what? Just for the sake. Just kidding. Not really.
I'm a kid and I'm a squid. I'm a kid. I'm a squid. You know what? I'm going to disagree with you guys and say that this because we are adults and this isn't marketed towards us. I still think those commercials are great.
I know, but they're so incredibly uncool.
Oh no, they're the coolest.
They're enough.
But to be fair, like if I were in this age demographic. And you guys are right. Your kids are going to be walking around screaming this song. I'm telling you, it's got to catch them all over again.
Yeah, but my kid is 4.
Yeah, so it'll be terribly high pitched and awful.
No,
just like the commercial.
Yeah, cool. Although, however, having said that, the Japanese commercials that I've seen for this game are pretty cool. Like the Inkling actually like running around Shibuya and shooting stuff and swimming around.
Weird. And Ashley and I were talking about what they could do in Universal with this. Like if they were to bring Splatoon, even though it's a new IP and that concept is unbelievable, right? But what if they made like a virtual like paintball space?
Oh, just straight up paintball. They probably wouldn't do that, but
no, not because it couldn't be real paintball because that would be painful and not fun and awful. But like if you could like just like this is definitely possible, just like digital surfaces that would know where you were shooting and stuff. You could play Turf War in real life.
That would be pretty fun, like a laser tag sort of deal.
Yeah, exactly like laser tag, but with like screens underneath you that would show you where the paint is.
8-foot like roller.
Right.
What's the worst that could happen there? Cool. All right, awesome. Well, I think that we got to get to our listener mail as well, and I think are you going to stick around or are you done, Dave?
Oh no, I'll stick around if you guys want. I'm up. I'm gonna listen if I leave.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we'll talk about the Puzzle and Dragons demo next week. I think just for the sake of time. So let's move straight into the. What did I do? Did I import this again? Do you hear that? It's the Postman. Okay. I always have to give a good sigh after that just because it's so refreshing. Justin, do you want to read this first email?
Sure, absolutely. So Holden Moffat writes, as a follow-up to last week's Zelda questions. Hi, it's Holden again. Thanks for response to my email. Hey, no problem, Holden. You're welcome.
Yeah, was he the one who's asking about specific
Zelda games?
He asked if I was the Zelda guy.
That's right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right on. I just wanted to clarify for the listeners as well. So,
yeah. Ironically, I just finished Wind Waker HD for at the time after putting 52 hours into it. I have a renewed appreciation for the game. My question for this week is how prominently do you use the restore point feature on the Virtual Console? It's a lifesaver for me in regards to any SNES games. P.S. The Oracle games really hold up, and I think, Zach, that was you that mentioned.
Yes, they do. I love those Oracle
So
games.
restore points for Virtual Consoles. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think that in certain games it's great, and in certain games it kind of breaks the spirit of it, of the game. So, for example, I use it quite frequently in playing. I found that in playing Earthbound, I have used it quite a bit, especially in like RPGs where it's like, oh crap, I just my entire party died at this boss, and I really don't want to have to go through this entire area again to get back to the boss. So I usually do like a save state before the boss, and then and kind of save state throughout, and so that if for whatever reason I get swamped by this particular boss, then I'll be able to restore and use some healing potions or whatever the equivalent is, and then be able to have a new approach to this boss without having to go through the whole thing again. Because a lot of times in those games, it can get really grindy and repetitive and tedious otherwise. And again, I feel like it's, for the most part, it just saves a lot of time. One thing that I wish that they had as well, and working with some other emulators, the sort of possibilities with playing your own personal backup game collection that you totally own legitimate copies for, by the way. Just want to put that out there. There are some other like PC-based emulators that have like a fast forward function that are really cool too. That I wish that existed on the Wii U, but yeah. But as far as save states go, I think it's totally fine. I think it's great. What do you think, Jesse?
I normally forget that the feature's there just because when I played the original games, that didn't exist back in the NES and SNES days. But when I do remember they exist, that it, like you said, that's in front of an RPG boss, or like playing Mega Man right when you get to the end stage boss.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like you try the first boss because you kind of have like half health. But then other than that, it's like as soon as you, as soon as you're starting that next life, it's like, you basically have infinite lives. It's great.
Right. I use this when I'm playing the 3DS a lot. Like closing it to be just like where I was, and like leaving it in that state. Because that became a natural thing for me from the original DS. It's like you close the game, you open it up. So if you're playing a Virtual Console game, you can put it in this mode, and it does essentially the same kind of concept. But like,
here's my one beef with that though, is that one of the things that, and I don't know if you can turn this off or not, but the idea of not just like the save states, but the restore point. So in other words, when you close the software and then you reopen it, it immediately starts from where you last were in the game. And I feel like the idea that there's something to be said for turning the game on and seeing the start screen and that whole sort of process that is lost in the Virtual Console's way of dealing with restore points, where it's like, I know that the last time I played this game, I was playing Super Mario Brothers 3 and I was like in World 2 or something, but I really kind of just want to see the red curtain and the whole thing, happen when I start the game. So that's my one problem with it, but that's it. Did you have
play the games they were originally intended?
Yeah, and at least the initial sort of experience as you kind of start up the game, right? So, what about you, Justin?
Yeah, I'm kind of actually like Jesse. I forget it's there. I forget it's there because I played the way it was supposed to. Like, I shouldn't say the way it was originally intended, but like from when I was a kid, that didn't exist, so I totally forget about it.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, when it comes
it's a
down
cool
to it,
it's a cool
play-
feature though. I like it.
Yeah, play however you enjoy playing, right?
Yeah.
And don't let anybody else tell you that you're playing wrong.
Yeah, don't let them put you in a corner.
Don't let the man get you down.
Which we can probably say that same statement to the next email.
Yeah, right on. So, Jesse, why don't you read that email? Who read the last one?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, Jesse, why don't you read that email?
All right.
The next.
Hey guys, it's Chris again. CRYS. I'm presuming that's Chris. I have a question in regards to ethics in video gaming. When I got that far, I was thinking, "Ooh, this might be a meaty question," but the question was completely off of what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I originally thought too. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a deep one. But it is kind of deep though. It is kind of deep.
When I updated my 3DS XL to the not so stupidly named new 3DS XL, I chose to not trade in my old system for credit toward the new system. Instead, I decided to utilize my old system as sort of a Street Pass bot, if you will, where I have the me in a lime green shirt is with a birthday of February 29th. People have told me that utilizing the 3DS in this way is cheating. What do you guys think about this? Thanks for being full of awesomeness.
Okay, this is awesome. Okay, imagine imagine if like businesses and stuff would do this, right? Let's just use the generic immediate coming to my thought. It's like, what if you went to McDonald's, okay? And now you street passed Ronald McDonald every time you went to McDonald's because they leave a 3DS there that just sits there and does street passes. It's like one of those cool things where like you walk in a store and then you like see that somebody set up the street passes for like the demo 3DS that just sits there, and they like made it and it says something like Target's dumb. You're like, okay.
Yeah, but then how close does that then all of a sudden become to advertising, right? So you go to your Me Plaza, you have that little special like welcome message, right? All of a sudden the welcome message from Ronald McDonald is, McValue Meal 1 is on sale, right?
89-cent cheeseburger.
But what if you only get that because you had that street pass? Like you have to show that me.
My me has been saying VG Tribune for 3 years.
Mine says dayspace.com.
Yeah.
Mine says hashtag Nintendo Dads.
Yeah,
Because that's what it should say.
That's what mine says.
I mean,
For sure.
it's just it is basically a walking advertisement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
I think as well, part of the question is asking like, is it ethical to carry more than one street? And I think first of all, let's address the word ethical. This is not an ethical concern. Like as far as ethics go,
right, no.
I'm worried about like
but
the
it is
proper
because
use
there's
of like
no, I'm kidding.
are like people suffering. Is what you're doing causing people to suffer? No, it's not. It's not an ethical concern per se, but nobody is nobody is being caused like undue
I'll tell you the negative side to this, right? At school, we have this guy that carries around, and I'm not joking, 4 3DSs because they're his siblings' parents. I don't know what they are, right? But every single day, he goes in and goes to the system settings and changes them to different regions. Regions that you would never get. North Korea. And like, you're like...
So he's like the Street Pass Santa, so everybody can get...
So you can get the regions that you can't get.
That's great.
And it's awful though, because it's like, no, I didn't street pass somebody from there.
So maybe help me with the Street Pass component of this. What's the big deal?
Do we have trade embargoes against some of these countries?
Having a me in a lime green shirt on a birthday of February 29th.
It's because it's a more rare thing. Now this like the February 29th, I think is probably it only happens if you've paid for the VIP stuff, right? Like that would even have any sort of an influence. For the birthday, but the lime green is probably kind of a rare color and stuff like that. Would be my guess, but
I changed my me color shirt to whoever is my nearest friend who needs something and find me.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly. Like literally, I had someone who sent me a message at work. They're like, "Hey, can you change your shirt to yellow and then walk past me?"
Although, did you notice? I actually noticed the other day. I was playing the Street Pass games, and there's actually a thing now where if you go into the game, like I got to, whatever it is, like the blue flame, like the ice room, and the bunny that sells you the Street Pass games was there and was like, "Hey, I noticed that you need some help. Do you want to spend some play coins and help me and let
Buy
me
the
take care
me
of
with
this
that
for you?"
color.
Yeah, exactly. And then he summoned the little puppy Miis or whatever, and they took care of it immediately, and I didn't have to wait a freaking like 2 weeks to find somebody who had a red shirt.
Or
So-
go through your own past inventory of Mii's to find the red shirts.
Exactly.
So here's kind of what my answer is to this, and I'm gonna say I would agree that it's not necessarily an ethics.
This is a doozy of an episode, by the way. We're like 2.5 hours.
And we have 2 more questions. It was a Nintendo extravaganza this week. This isn't an ethics question, but what I would say here is what you're kind of potentially doing here, Chris, is that you're more than anything else, you're kind of cheating yourself out of an experience, and that experience is the social component that Nintendo so much strives itself for in the community aspect of it, which is taking your 3DS in your to-go bag and heading out downtown or heading to the university and randomly meeting those people, and that becomes like this collector's badge or this kind of honor, if you would, that you're trying to do so that you can share and show off with others. This kind of checklist, and I think by doing what you're doing, you're actually just taking away a little bit of that for yourself. And I mean, if you're okay, I mean, here's a question: if you're okay with it, then it's fine. But I mean, I do think that it is just kind of changing how Nintendo would view you as the purpose of it. But ultimately, it boils down to: do you feel okay with it?
I think it's reducing the longevity of like the puzzle swap, for example. If you have 2 of them, then you're going to collect puzzle pieces twice as fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that's fine with you, then that's like I said before, don't let anybody else tell you that you're doing it wrong. But I think it is kind of going back to that same question. It's just not really what was intended.
So that's the question: is are you using them to collect twice as many Street Passes, or are you in a situation where you're only Street Passing with yourself? Well, there are some games that benefit from seeing the same person over and over again, but if all you see is yourself, then like you're still never going to get all the puzzle pieces.
Yeah,
and you know what? I mean, as it's way more fun to play with others than to play with yourself.
Definitely.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Just
go to
and I think
it's like Street Pass meetup or PAX and E3, and you're going to get a gob of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even going back to Dave's point here as well, right? Like if you're kind of using it as a Street Pass bot at your house, I'd encourage you to put it in your to-go bag and spread the love to others as well.
And then you're going to get twice as many puzzle pieces. That is actually, I did do that. There was a point where I had my brother's 3DS for a while, and I did the exact same thing.
Just
where
don't lie about the region.
Yeah,
that's all I care.
Set the other one to North Korea, and
I'll change my name.
Dave will never return to our show. He's like, I hate you guys.
I'll change my name to Zach Miller, and it's from Alaska, and really confuse people.
No, but the trick is you get to change it every single day, just to because I still don't even honestly know who this guy is in real life, or I would say something, but I passed him every day. like stop.
Nice.
His name is James. James, I'm calling you out.
Like James listens to our show.
Hey, he might.
He obviously is a Nintendo fan carrying around 4 3DSs on different regions.
Right on. Cool. So there you go, Chris. I hope that answers your question. Finally, let's read off one final email from Seb. He writes, guys, thanks a lot for your great answer. Just a little last question. Do you think there is any chance to see Zelda Wind Waker on 3DS?
No.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say yeah.
We're more likely to see a spiritual sequel to Majora's Mask.
Yeah, either that
or
or seeing a sequel to Link Between Worlds. I can that is probably the most likely Zelda game if we're going to see another one on 3DS.
Or just like they did wow, I'm hearing myself choppy. Like the Xenoblade remake for 3D, they could. I don't think they can do a Skyward Sword due to all the motion controls in it, but they can definitely do a Twilight Princess using GameCube-ish controls.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I don't know. Do we really need a Zelda game every single year? Like it's becoming annualized, right? Like since the 3DS came out, we got Ocarina of Time, we got Link Between Worlds, we got Majora's Mask, and then of course we've got. Well, I guess that's it. But we've also had a bunch and Wind Waker,
Hyrule Historia,
Hyrule Warriors,
Hyrule Warriors,
Wind Waker, the new Zelda game that's going to be on the NX.
I'm kind of oh
Trolling.
yeah. I
It's
kind
so
of
true though. It's Twilight Princess all
I don't
over
think
again,
so.
guys.
I don't think so. I think I think that it's probably if the NX is as big of a game changer as they say it is. Then again, the Wii was too. So maybe that's not a.
Here's the thing: if we get a Zelda game every single year, you know what that's called? That's called Call of Duty, and that's called Assassin's Creed.
Well, we're already there with Pokemon.
Although they are a lot
got pretty damn close to it.
And what happens is that we don't appreciate the games anymore, and they get pushed so quickly out the door that they're not quality, and it's just
that's
or it's
why
not quantity, or it's just based on quantity, not quality.
That's why our Smash Brothers and Mario Kart per console generation matters so much.
Yes.
That's why those games mean so much to us, is because we get them once a generation per Nintendo console generation, which is whatever,
Usually
shorter
every 5
or
years.
longer. Right. That Smash Brothers game for the NX, I'm already looking forward to that. Let's be honest here. And Mario Kart 9, looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist yet. It's probably not even being worked on yet. But I'll be ready.
Dave's body is ready.
Good question, Seb. Good question. I threw another one in the docket real fast. Sorry, guys. This one
go for it.
in via Twitter. I just threw it in there a couple moments ago. Well, I asked the Twitter audience, I said, hey, are there any other questions you guys want us to discuss this tonight? And our good friend Brett Babin from Twitter, Brett, said, hey, how much time will they waste/use at E3 for Giant Robot?
Oh man,
You mean Project Robot?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Project Giant Robot. I actually hope that we do see that one. That is one that looked so weird that it's one of those ones that sort of endearing brand of weird that only Nintendo can truly deliver. I kind of hope that we see. I don't know. It's probably going to be an eShop game, so I suspect they probably won't spend a ton of time on it, but I'm excited to see it.
Who's doing that one in Project? It's Giant Robot
it's
and
Miyamoto.
And the other one's what? Project
Guard. Which so here's the thing about
Go for it, Dave.
Project Robot. If it's online, is going to be the greatest game ever.
Yes, only
we can fight each other as giant robots.
Thing too, is that it's got a camera on the gamepad, right? And you're using the gamepad. I want to see a live feed of Justin as I'm sumo wrestling him as a giant robot.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I want to see that weird, awkward sort of angle that clearly gives anybody a double chin, regardless if they have a double chin. You will have like 3 more chins than usual.
Look for the neck beard and all.
Yes, neckbeard cam. Hashtag neckbeard cam.
When they announce or when they show Project Guard again, I'm expecting to see a lot of idiots on Twitter trying to throw things like Nintendo's trying to sponge off of the Five Nights at Freddy's thing.
But even though
they announced it first before the first Five Nights, but there've been 3 Five Nights games and they're a thing and they're popular, and Nintendo's thing isn't out yet.
So Project Guard is going to be great as long as you can get like as many people to sit here on the couch and scream the cameras at you.
I think that's the whole idea behind it, isn't it?
No, that is. I mean, that is. But like, the more people you can get, and like, the more like, I don't know, in the mood to play that game you can get them into, will make that game or it'll break it.
Yeah.
Project Robot will be fun, probably no matter what. But as long as if you can play it online, it'll be perfect. Project Guard relies on you like having like a bunch of friends to sit there and yell at you.
Yeah.
I hope that they will announce this at E3 as a Miyamoto bundle available digitally for like $15, and you get both games digitally.
And available now.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? This may be one of those games that's like, and it's available right now. I can totally see them doing that. Yeah.
I'm really now hoping for Project Robot Online.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the neckbeard camp.
I don't even remember what that was about.
Watch that will have voice chat.
Oh no!
Oh.
No.
Yes.
Only with friends, because you'll never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly. Good question, guys. Hey, awesome questions from Holden, Chris, Seb, Brett. Man, I love how much these guys are emailing us and sending in questions that we're discussing.
Brett's awesome on Twitter, by the way.
Oh, Brett Babin's fantastic.
He's awesome.
He's always talking on Twitter.
Very cool. Absolutely. Well, anything else, guys, before we start heading out here?
Thanks, Dave, for jumping on chatting with us, by the way.
Absolutely.
No problem, guys. I'm always here.
Right on. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and what you're doing online?
We're gonna be doing some different podcasts. You can find me at dayspace.com. All my stuff is there. Everything I've done up until this point is there. You can follow me on Twitter at Dayspace. That's DACESPACE. And just follow me. I'm doing stuff.
Right.
More Nintendo
on.
stuff, I think.
Sweet. Right on. Well, you can also follow us on Twitter. That's at Nintendo Dads. You can follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, or share our things on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at Nintendo Dads. Email us nintendodads@gmail.com. Twitch.tv/Nintendo Dads. Call in and leave us a voicemail. It's 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Huge thanks to ocremix.org for our music, both the beginning and end of the show, as well as to Carter Johnson, who provides our amazing artwork. You can find out more about what she does over at megacarter.tumblr.com. And of course, if there's one thing that you can do for us, go over to iTunes and leave us a review there, and that helps get the show into the ear holes of many more people. And absolutely, that's great. You can also find us on Stitcher or VGTribune.com. And by the way, VGTribune.com is giving away a GameCube adapter this month. So go over to the VG Tribune Facebook page, and it's stickied on the top there. There's lots of different ways that you can enter to win that. And we're excited for that. And, I mean, it goes until the end of the month. So head over there and win a GameCube adapter. And it's a Nintendo one, too. It's not a cheap, crappy one. So we only give away the good stuff over here. So, right on. Any final words before we head out tonight, guys?
I'm contemplating whether to go to bed right away or stay up late and watch the season's ending of Arrow.
Everybody be careful not to Splatoon themselves on the 29th.
Nice.
Yes, absolutely. Be responsible. Splatoon with responsibly, I guess. Cool.
Practice safe splatooning.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on, guys. Well, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye. I cannot wait for the throwdown of us versus Roger, Game Explain, and Josh for Splatoon.
I know, right?
They're going to get destroyed.